You're watching WRKM Channel 22, number one in the region. The following WRKM broadcast for mature audiences only. Why? Well, because maybe sometimes a mom hires a hitman to kill her baby. Maybe some really miserable... I decided I'm not going to try to say the B or the C word in reference to women. So let's just say one of them doesn't want to have kids now because climate change. And sometimes you find out your architect husband in Gilgo Beach is a serial killer. Light stuff. It's the weekend. It's the evening. It's fun time. That's talks we can't have when the sun is up. Good evening. I'm Rafi Martinez with End in Darkness. Sometimes on the show, we talk about parenting. I like the idea of talking about parenting. I hope to be a parent someday. Some would say I've raised a few people. Have they turned out okay? I don't know. They're not my kids, so I accept no responsibility for them in true Puerto Rican fashion. But sometimes we talk about parenting on here in terms of strategy. How do you choose to raise your child? What are some of the tactics you can use to make your child a better person? Or how can you screw up your kid's life? It's kind of nice. Kind of a fun topic for everyone. But there was a mom in Miami, one of my favorite places, 18 years old. We actually talked about this website not too long ago. A National Guardsman who wanted to be a hitman. Well, someone else used that website. And this young 18-year-old mom used this website to hire a hitman to kill her 3-year-old. I'm going to reserve judgment until I've read the article. A young Florida mother. Oh, this is from the New York Post, by the way. Let's start giving out, credit where credit's due. A young Florida mother was arrested Tuesday after trying to use a parody service to rent a hitman to kill her toddler son. That's not good. Jasmine Baez, P-A-E-Z. Is that Baez or Paz? I don't know. It's not a Puerto Rican last name, so I'm not under any obligation to pronounce it correctly. I think it's Colombian. And you know how I feel about Colombians. Allegedly solicited an assassin through the fake website Rent a Hitman to take out her 3-year-old before Thursday. So today's the day. We're recording this on Thursday. This would have been the day this kid would have met his end. And we'd be talking about a very different story. Or maybe we wouldn't have been talking about it. Maybe we've been too sad. We still would have been talking about it. It's perfect darkness fodder. The Miami-Dade mom, well, of course Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade has a lot of problems. I know of Miami-Dade from the election in 2000. The old people there didn't know whether they voted for Al Gore or the other guy, not Nader. Damn it, I gotta look it up. We're gonna talk about history, I want to be right. Third candidate who ruined the country by running in 2000. Not 200, 2,000. It wasn't Nader. It was the other guy. Pat Buchanan. Damn, see, I didn't even Google. I remembered it. But Miami-Dade, the old folks went in there into their little voting booths. Well, this is a bit more complex. It was all based on paper chads, you see, Bobby. And paper chads were how we used to vote in poor areas or old areas. And sometimes when you puncture the paper chad, it doesn't go all the way through. It dimples. And if they're not aligned correctly, you could also end up voting for the wrong person. So there was a huge hullabaloo in 2000 about did people vote for Gore or Pat Buchanan? If the old people were smart, they would have aligned their damn ballots properly, and we wouldn't have gone through the last 20 years. I think of George Bush as a Terminator problem. If we can just go back in time and tell these old Jews to vote correctly, and I say Jew effective. What's the word? Affectionately. I say it affectionately. I love old Jewish people. They were my favorite comedians growing up. But can they puncture paper chad ballots? I'm not sure. 2000 proved us differently. So Miami-Dade, I am aware of the shitfuckery that happens there. So his mom being from there does not surprise me. The mom is accused of submitting pictures of her little boy and the exact location he was going to be in, according to court documents obtained by NBC Miami. Investigators were posing as the for-hire killer spoke with Baez to flesh out the demented plan, during which time the bloodthirsty mother allegedly agreed to hand over $3,000, $1,000 per year. So she was being economical with it. She knew what the price of a life was in 2023. Could she be overpaying due to inflation? Only the economist would know. And I leave that to the economist to answer. After matching her IP address to the home of Baez and speaking with her child's grandmother, who verified that the intended target was Baez's child, so the grandma knew? Was the grandma aware? Or did the grandma identify the target? I think grandma was in on it. Authorities swooped in to arrest her. And got a picture of her face. It's pretty rough. I don't think we should put that up. We'll just keep her anonymous. Her actions are ugly enough. She was charged with first-degree solicitation of murder and third degree. So wait, she does the first-degree solicitation of murder and then the third degree using a communications device for unlawful use. So is the initial asking the first degree? Is it doing by the phone a third degree? Maybe I should be a lawyer. Baez is being held in Miami-Dade jail. Her son is in a safe custody of family. I don't know if I trust them. The man who operates the fake murder for hire site was the one who tipped off to Baez's sixth scheme. Robert Ines, who receives hundreds of hitman solicitations per day. You would think with this website, having led to 2 arrests by now, you'd shut it down. Or maybe he's not the hero we asked for or the hero we deserve, but the one we got. And he's helping us catch these crazies and providing good podcast content. The ability to research names, addresses, and verify the intended target lived in a particular address. That to me is a red flag. If that information is corroborated to me, that is something that needs to be looked at, and that's why I referred it, he said to NBC Miami. Inez, I-N-N-E-S, I'm going to go with Inez, alleges that the Miami-Dade police did not initially take this flag seriously and even threatened to send him a cease and desist. Assist and deceased. I'm getting caught up on the words today. Is this what happens when you get older? The generative tongue? Rent a Hitman site was has led to the arrest of dozens of people looking to pass off the messy job to someone else. Both the service request form and careers form have been used many times to arrest people interested in using the services of a hitman on someone they know, including earlier this year when in Tennessee, we talked about him, Air National Guardsman was arrested after applying to be a hitman. A Michigan woman admitted to using the site to hire a hitman to kill her ex-husband for $5,000. So a baby's $3,000, but a husband's $5,000? That's a huge, well, it's not much of a gap, is it now? I would assume a husband, because he's a full-formed male, would be worth at least $100K. A baby being worth $3, I understand. Just started out, you know, it's not a whole life, not a whole real life that was led. But a husband, I think he should have been almost killed for more. $5,000, that would be the part in the divorce I would get upset by. Not the fact that a hitman was almost hired, but the low rate in which my life meant to her. Since 2018, at least 120 people across New York alone, what? We winning, have turned to rent a hitman to rub out others in their lives. Here's the problem now. I want to put a solicitation in here, but it's not a real one. But I'm afraid that I'm so good with it, they'll arrest me. Because I will get detailed about it. It's not a good idea, is it? Who would I hire? Or who would I have killed? Well, it depends. Depends. So many people. Such an incriminating question if that person was to mysteriously be killed. Probably not the proper platform to answer this kind of question. But this is a content economy. So you can't have to put yourself out there. Put it all on the line. Dave Meltzer. No, that's me. No one knows who Dave Meltzer is, so it wouldn't be a big enough assassination. I don't have any enemies. I don't have a rogues gallery. I don't have enemies. This is a problem. I kind of need to develop enemies at this time in my life. How can I not have enemies? I've lived 35 years. There must be someone I hate. I don't hate anybody. I'm mostly annoyed by people, and that's not enough to hire an assassin. I'm going to need an enemy first. And it can't be random pro wrestling journalists now, can it? Can't. It's gotta mature. If you're gonna assassinate someone, it needs to be a real person. Not saying Dave Meltzer's not a real person. He's got a family, I assume. I don't know. He watches too much wrestling. He says he has a son. I've never seen this son, so I've seen no evidence. But let's pretend Dave Meltzer's a real person and has a family and has a life. He's still not important enough for me to have assassinated. And it's mean to say to have Dave Meltzer assassinated because I disagree with his match star ratings. If this podcast is in the Tokyo Dome, it gets 7 stars out of 5. Once again, another reference that unless you're in the know, you don't understand. That's the cool part about this show. But I don't have enemies. I don't. We need to start developing enemies. So email me at thiswillendindarkness@gmail.com. Potential enemies. We should have a segment every week now of a potential enemy I could have. I need to build every superhero. Not only needs his theme music, according to Kanye, needs a rogues gallery. This mom cannot be in my rogues gallery. She's already caught. I need someone who's not in jail, who has not suffered yet, to be my enemy. Bill de Blasio could be an enemy. This whole podcast was started mostly on hating him. So maybe, well, he's getting divorced, so I kind of feel bad. I can't make him an enemy. He's kind of down right now. It's kind of mean to make him an enemy at this point in time. You can go with the generics, you know, the clan. They can be an enemy, but they're more like my Hydra. You know, they're an overarching villain I'm constantly fighting. So I need a Joker. I need a Lex Luthor, a Green Goblin. Thanos, for me, the universe is Thanos. It's always trying to fuck me somehow. So I'm fighting the universe. So life is my enemy. That's a really abstract enemy to have. Neil Gaiman would write the shit out of that, but I need a real enemy. I don't have one. And it kind of, Henry and Meghan. Oh, Harry and Meghan. See, I can't even get the names right. Harry and Meghan could be enemies to me. Bam, they're on the list. Harry and Meghan, they are my enemies for now. Until I can find better ones. Because God, I hope I find some better ones. Because they're losers. Here's how bad of losers they are. At the Queen's funeral, R.I.P., they asked Joe Biden, hey, can we hop a ride on Air Force One back to America? And they were told no. No. Not even if you paid for it. No. We don't want you on the plane. Go somewhere else. You're not royals anymore. You don't get to hop on all the cool jets anymore. And good for them. They were humbled. Is Joe Biden a potential ally? I don't know. My cinematic universe is growing. Not at the rate I would like it to. But I need enemies. Gotta start finding enemies. So send them in to thiswhenindarkness@gmail.com. Put them in the comments of this video. We're definitely going to clip this out so people can help me find on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, in the comment section. Give me an enemy. But it's got to be good. You know me. You know me. You know how I am. Find me an enemy. The nicer the person, the better. Because it makes my pettiness level rise up and anger. But if this mom was my enemy, it'd be a complex situation. Because here's the thing about a 3-year-old. At 3 years old, you are able to run. You are able to climb. You are able to punch and kick. So that says to me that kid had every tool to defend himself. And maybe his mom, with her ugly actions, was trying to teach him the number one lesson in life. Protect your neck. You never know where it's going to come from. Sometimes it's the people you love that try to take you down. They come as your friends that they talk about in Goodfellas. They come as your mom sometimes. He could have learned the ultimate lesson by learning how to defend himself. Every kid needs to get into a scuffle here and there to learn what his worth is, especially a boy. You learn how to fight. You fight amongst your friends. Why not fight an assassin? What other kid growing up is going to have the story you know? When I was 3, my mom really cared about me. She wanted me to know how dangerous life could be. So I was in the park, I was in the sandbox, and an assassin came and took out a samurai sword and pressed it against my neck. I knew I was in danger at that point. And what I did was I cried at first. It freaked him out. And then I got to punching and kicking. I climbed all over him, choked him out, and ran away. Because I was a 3-year-old and I was now capable of those feats. And now here I am today, 18 years old. Some would say with early PTSD, but I am a better child for it. Now, if the mom wasn't hiring an assassin to train him, I would still say that kid had all the tools to defend himself. 3-year-olds are annoying, objectively speaking. They're some of the most annoying children. Terrible 2s are bad, but terrifying 3s are real. They always want your attention, but they don't bring anything to the table. What do you want? You got my attention. Say something interesting. I like this toy. Look at this toy, Dad. Look at this toy. That's not interesting to me. I see things fly through the air all the time. I walk around in life, bro. I see planes pass by all the time. This doesn't impress me. Dad, look at my Roblox. Fuck your Roblox. That's what I say. Fuck Roblox. How about you teach me about stocks? Because your dad's made some bad choices. How about you be useful? Clean stuff around the house. You can now walk and run. You can do this. You're 3 years old now. You understand the concept of wiping things down. Get it together, kid. What did this kid do to this woman? How annoying was he? He was probably driving her crazy. She's like, I'm 18 years old. I don't need this shit. I made one mistake. You made one dude out of condom. Now you got a baby. Like, come on. Why should she have to suffer? And to be fair, once again, the kid could have had a cool story. Been an orphan, became an assassin himself, grew up, found out who his mom was. And then one day when she comes home, years later as she's older, she has a whole other family because she was ready for it finally. Her family comes back from going to Outback Steakhouse. The lights are all off, but once they open the door and flick the light on, bam. There's her original son sitting in a chair. And she's like, oh my God. Her husband goes to move forward to the man, but he, like a little blow dart, right to the neck, and he drops. And the lady's, oh my God, my husband. And her now older son goes, don't worry, Mom. Daddy's fine. Why did you call me Mom? Remember me, Ma? I'm the $3,000 baby. And I'm here for vengeance. And now he's an assassin. And he finally gets his vengeance. He takes her out and the husband, and now their kids are now left orphans. So the cycle of assassins continue, because that's how assassins are born. I don't write the rules. I don't make the rules. I follow them. And that's the situation we could have had. But it's Thursday now. The kid made it. I'm not trying to sound sad about it, but we really missed out on a fantastic assassin ninja saga. I should write this movie. I think this could be a good movie. Now, who could play this mother? I don't know. Prosthetics would have to be used to get it accurate, not to make a judgment on anyone's appearance. Just how ugly their actions were. Horrendous, grotesque even, deformed. Well, I don't know if actions can be deformed. But we'll just throw the word out there anyway and allow you at home to take that how you will. If you're listening through our audio portals, you should look up this article. Not for the picture of the mom, for the story, but there's also a picture of the mom. So you can get what we're talking about here. Woman with ugly intentions, ugly actions, and an ugly spirit. And possibly an ugly appearance. I said it. I think you're allowed to body shame someone who tries to assassinate the child. Why not? But this mom is not the only one having issues with babies. People's even having a real big issue with babies, it seems. And I like babies. I think babies are cool sometimes. Like, 3-year-olds are annoying, but small babies? Adorable. If you can just get past 2 and 3 without having to hire an assassin to kill them, they become adorable. But there are some people who say we shouldn't be having babies because things are just so bad right now. And this story comes from Fox News, which, I know people have their reservations about, but this was kind of a dope segment. It's Water's World.
There's scientific consensus that the lives of children are going to be very difficult, and it does lead, I think, young people to have a legitimate question. Is it okay to still have children?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez cautioning millennials about climate change and posing the question whether people should even be having more kids. But the movement reaches much further than D.C. Women in Great Britain refusing to have children until global warming ends.
I can't have a child until I am absolutely convinced that we are on a seriously different path.
Here to explain, the founder of Birth Strike, Blythe Pepino. Okay, Blythe, what are the risks, in your opinion, of having a child?
There aren't any risks to having a child, as in giving birth, do you mean, or in their future?
If you give birth, which you're refusing to do, but if you get pregnant and give birth, what would be the problem to the world or to your child?
The problem that we are talking about is that we're afraid for these kids' futures. So
how would you be afraid of their future?
He's trying to get her to answer this question because it's a legitimate question. How does climate change and babies work together in this situation? Not to be mean, but her name is Blythe. Have you ever met anyone cool named Blythe? The only people that have names like Blythe tend to be miserable people. And they just seem so unhappy. She seems unhappy. She seems highly unhappy. She's got a bowl cut. Women with bowl cuts are never happy. That's a fact of life. They're always miserable. Because who gave them that haircut? I feel like the bowl cut is a way of showing the world your inner anguish. Or you just decide you've given up on life and you won't be attractive to anyone.
We're afraid for their futures.
But what could happen to the child when they grow up?
Well, what we're looking at in the next few decades, to the end of the century, is a worldwide famine. Mass displacement of people, famine, food shortages across the world as a result of drought in the places where we grow food around the world and how we feed ourselves.
Okay, so
we're also looking at mass displacement of people. We're talking 5 to 6 billion
gentrification
refugees as a result of climate change, both within our countries and from around the world.
So you think if you have a baby and that baby grows up, they're not going to have anything to eat because climate change will cause massive droughts and food shortages. Do you really believe we're not going to have any food in a couple years because of climate change?
Not in a couple of years, no, in a few decades to the end of the century.
Okay. Because for decades, people on the left or in the media have been predicting, the polar ice caps are going to melt. Remember, Al Gore said they'd be melted by now. And, in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, they all said that, the Earth was going to end and there were going to be, the Manhattan was going to be swimming and it was going to sink. These things have never happened.
He's got a point. I never got my climate apocalypse that Day After Tomorrow promised me. I never got New York underwater. That would have been awesome. I can't swim. But I think about like gondolas. I have a little boat. I have a group of friends that are pirates. And we're sailing across New York, causing trouble, letting people know what we're up to, handling the busy biz. Is she trying to keep my child from experiencing being a pirate? Where does she get off, Blythe? More like a blight on society. No, damn, that was a good one. That was a good. That was a good one. I don't give a damn what anyone says. Oh, not a lighting guy is starting to smile. Fuck you. All right, you should have laughed out audibly. Don't do it now. I get no support in this damn studio. I'm telling you right now. Okay, none. Well, Bobby does sometimes. Bobby's mysterious. He picks and chooses. He picks and chooses. That was a good one. But he makes a fair point. Science has been wrong before. Even though that's kind of how things work in life. What you thought before gets challenged with new evidence, and you build new hypotheses and thoughts from there. And it's probably kind of a lazy way to think about it, but he's right. They were wrong. Galileo thought the Earth is the center of the universe. What an idiot. Do I throw away all of Galileo's stuff? Yes, I do. He's out. That's how it is in society. Make one wrong move, you're out.
Makes you so sure they will if everyone's been wrong before?
I'm not going to contest with you about the predictions around ecological breakdown. You should just go and look up the science yourself.
Well, I have. I mean, the science isn't always right. I mean, the scientists said Y2K.
The scientists are now have consensus around
well,
this.
there was a consensus.
That's such a woman move. That's such a woman move. Like, not even answering the question, go, well, you should look it up for yourself. No, how about you tell me? They always do that. They deflect. Because they know they can't handle direct questions. And well, not in her case, but most of the time they're good looking. And they catch you off guard. And you're like, maybe I should look at them and stuff. Maybe I'm just dumb. But with someone like Blight, try not to be mean here. This would be the second woman we made fun of for looking weird on this show. We're not that show. For the most part. She kind of deserves it.
Consensus that Y2K was also going to melt down the entire world.
Do you even have a family?
I do.
Do you have a wife? Do you have children?
Yes, I have children, yes.
Well, are you worried about them? Are you worried about their futures?
No, I think they're going to be great. I don't think they're going to starve. I think they're going to have plenty to eat.
I look forward to 20, 30 years' time when that's the case. I really hope that you're right.
Well, I mean, I think I am right. And I just don't believe the science because it's not all
because
there.
You've been told not to believe the science by your government.
No.
You've been told to not believe the science by your government.
Do you remember?
And now you've not believed it because it suits you.
Blythe.
Because you live in a Western country where things aren't happening in your country just yet, except for the forest fires that happen in California.
Okay.
Except
not my problem. I live in New York.
Other things that are happening as a
Blythe,
result of
do you
climate
remember
change.
when all the scientists?
So you can just continue
do you
to
remember
ignore
when all the
it
scientists
to
thought that the world was the center of the universe?
Of what's happening,
Blythe.
But it's coming for us all.
Blythe, do you
That's all
remember
I've got to
when
say.
all the scientists said that the Earth was the center of the universe? There was scientific consensus about the geocentric theory. Well, it was wrong. It was wrong. Y2K was wrong. Germ theory was wrong. There's been a lot of errors in the scientific community. And what happens if you have a kid that solves the climate crisis? You'd be denying the world.
We haven't got time. We haven't got time.
He's
for
got
that.
a point
Maybe
there.
your son or daughter could become a Nobel Peace-winning
He's got a point.
scientist and get us all off fossil fuels. Why would you deny the world that chance?
Have you not listened to anything that people are telling you?
I'm listening. I'm just not believing.
Well, it's a problem of belief then, isn't it?
Okay. Well, maybe belief, maybe gullibility. But Blythe, I wish you well. And do you fly, by the way? Do you drive?
I've stopped flying now.
Okay. Do you drive?
I do drive a bit.
Okay. Because that's going to kill us all too. So you might want to start walking.
Don't put it on the individual. This is down to corporations and down to governments like yours ignoring telling the truth
you
about
put it on the individual yourself.
No,
by not
I haven't put it on the individual.
Children.
I've made a decision because I'm afraid for the child that I would bring into the world.
Oh,
this isn't an antinatalist movement.
Okay. Well, I gotta go. Blythe.
She's not the only one that's afraid. I kind of happy she's not having children. I'm afraid what kind of child she'd bring into this universe. Looking like fucking, damn, what's the dodo bird from, damn. No, I gotta look it up. Hold on, Tiny Toon Adventures. Look like Godo Dodo, bro. Her kid would look like Godo Dodo. Little hat, just... Why is it always when there's these kind of birthing strikes, it's never like... Once again, don't want to be that podcast, but women dudes would bang. It's always women who are just objectively unattractive. So, to be fair, they have nothing to worry about. No one's going to bang them. So technically, this is the easiest strike they could do. Her name is Blythe. Who's hitting that? Who's going to that boy? Yo, my man, guess what? You know what I did? Blythe. You know Blythe, bro? I got it with Blythe. I'm not hooking up with a chick named Blythe. Blythe? It looks like that? And it's insufferable. Just insufferable. And here's the thing. The guy brought up a good point. What if her kid was the one to solve climate change? Every roll of the dice could be the difference between salvation and apocalypse. Now, don't get me wrong. Many times in this show, I have advocated for a program I call No More Humans 2024. And it's always because there are just too many motherfuckers around. And I can see how that affects climate change. I can. But I'm not saying not everyone should have children. Just saying some people shouldn't. Now, some would say that's eugenics, but I'm not making a genetic issue. It's not about genetics to me. You can be a dumb fuck and have a perfectly normal body and a perfectly normal brain. It's about intelligence, really. It's about creativity. We have too many losers. Too many annoying people. That's why I support abortion. You know how many people that are just assholes we wouldn't have if we just let ladies have a choice in their body? But the problem with Blythe is that, climate change is 100 years from now, really. It's hot now, I'm not going to lie. It's really hot. And the air quality is really bad. But are you going to deny your child the chance to be Mad Max? In a cool post-apocalyptic future? You're going to deny your child the chance to be cool? Cooler than you? She's not cool. She's being a raging harpy on Fox News. Who wants that? And hearing her voice, hearing how she talks to a dude, you can tell she's miserable. Just miserable. Should any of us be worried about climate change? No. Because it's too late. Doesn't matter. If you think anything we really do now is going to change the course of history, you're wrong. It's been done. Those 2 degrees are coming. Barack Obama was giving an interview recently with Hassan Minaj, who is, for the most part, annoying. But I think every now and then he has a good bit. But he was pretending that his daughter asked him about climate change. My friends are all concerned, but they don't know what to do, Daddy, because climate change. And they feel like no one's taking it seriously. And of course, he's like, well, hold on. You gotta remember that there are good people, and some good people are trying their best. And you have to try your best all the time. And he went into a full-on monologue about green policy. And that's how I knew his daughter never asked him that question. Because politicians do that all the time. You know, I mean, this guy, and he asks me, what you gonna do about the economy? Well, here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna tax this person, that person, that person. I got 5 programs that I immediately thought of right when he asked me that question. It's full of shit. Don't have babies. That's cool. The rest of us cool kids are gonna have babies. We're gonna be going up, shooting up the club. You know what I mean, dog? We're gonna be out there, no condoms, dog. I know a few of you already are doing that, and you should stop. Some of you have one child too many. But for the rest of you, you know who you are who are cool, have more babies, bro. Have more babies. I never got my climate apocalypse. So if I'm lucky, my child will get to have my climate apocalypse. She'll get to witness the new ice age. Maybe she'll walk the Iceland Bridge someday and go into the Russian territory. And then she will be the conquistador then. Now, if that Miami woman was so concerned with climate change, we wouldn't have our cool assassin story from earlier, now would we? Having babies is content. You know what? Actually, this circles back. In our episode that we called generated, hold on, youth generating revenue. It's all about getting your kids to work for you. What she could have done was had a kid and made him a climate change influencer. Because that's all things that matter now. Have him like do unboxing videos for like water filters and stuff. She could have been a millionaire. But instead, she's choosing to be a miserable bitch. Damn it. I was trying to go one episode where I didn't call a woman a bitch. Or a cunt. Trying to get bitch and cunt out my vocabulary. And it's fucking hard. Because this bitch is being a cunt. Now, you know, they're going to do think pieces about me now. WRKM host can't stop saying bitch and cunt. Should we revoke his feminist card? Oh my God. Just saying. Women with bowl cuts are bitches. There. Show me one that's not a bitch. Show me one. Can't find him. You can't find him. Just raging cunts. I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, there are some murders in Long Island that have been solved. Some guy out there was murdering bitches. That's a joke now. I'm not doing it to be me. I'm doing it a joke now. Come on. Come back home. Come back home to me. More darkness after this. Do you like This When in Darkness? Then what are you doing? All right? Are you just watching the videos? Are you not liking? Are you not subscribing? Are you not sharing? Get to it. Start sharing. We got to grow this church of darkness. I want this darkness to spread. This One in Darkness is on YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere possibly available. We bring you the darkness. And all we ask is that you like and subscribe, rate and review. Doesn't take a lot of time. And if you love me, you do that. Is that emotionally manipulative? I hope it's emotionally manipulative. Take that, therapy Twitter. I'm a quote unquote narcissist now, apparently, because I want people to like and subscribe. This Will End Darkness, YouTube, Spotify, Stitcher. Like, subscribe, rate and review, and share the content. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't be that person. Share it. That's how people grow fan bases. When someone shares something, don't share it to me. All right, don't go, hey, Rob, it's a good one. Share it to somebody else. I've seen it already. People have shared my own content to me, and that's fucking weird. It's like, you don't see? Are the sunglasses confusing for you? Like and subscribe. I can't ask for anything more. Times are hard right now. I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. Help me get out of the 9 to 5. You go do the 9 to 5. You're a good person. You have real work ability. You're a hard worker. Me, rate, review, like, subscribe, and share. Share the darkness with others, because this is our weekly apocalyptic acceptance therapy. And this cult is only going to grow if you share my gospels and my word. And back to the rest of the show, because I'm done begging. Shouldn't have to beg. I should have people that just do stuff for me. And we're back. Hope that begging didn't bother you, but it should. And you should feel bad about it. A man who should also feel bad about himself is Rex Human. Or Herman. Herman? Who knows? He's the recent man to come on a long list of serial killers I've been interested in. You know, when I was a kid, I had read about the Zodiac Killer. And I was like, damn. I didn't wish people would die. But I wish I lived in a time that had a serial killer, so I could be caught up in the national conversation. No such thing really happened. At least not one I was interested in. Branch Davidians might be a little before my time. But this guy was under the radar. And the Gilgo murders, the Gilgo Beach murders, that's my Long Island accent. It's not really good. We're going on all these years. Apparently, these all 10 of these murders are linked together by one man, but they can only prove 4, I believe, right now. 4 or 3. This man, by day, was a normal architect with a family. And for years, he'd been secretly murdering sex workers. We turn to ABC's Extra Time as they break down the case for us.
From ABC 7 New York, this is Eyewitness News Extra Time.
A body has been found in Oak Beach, and police believe there may be other bodies out there.
Yeah, and Liz, this is the barrier island to the south of the town of Babylon. An extensive search that goes on for a good mile along the bay here south of the town of Babylon. You could see crime scene investigators there, and then, Tony, if you want to come back out, you could see behind me, and then clear up the beach right here. There are multiple outposts here where they're right now sifting through the sand and looking for human remains. We know right now that they can confirm in the last couple of days they have found 2 bodies. We believe skeletal remains, one on Saturday, one today, and we're told possibly more. There sure were more. It's hard to imagine, surreal in fact, that it's been 12 and a half years since I stood on the beach in the bitter cold. That was December of 2010. Now here we are in July of 2023, and I'm standing in front of the home of a suspected serial killer. I'm Josh Einiger, live in Massapequa Park, Long Island. This is Eyewitness News Extra Time. We're glad you're joining us for this special edition of our streaming show tonight, when we are talking about the Gilgo Beach serial killer, the Gilgo Beach murders. 10 sets of human remains which were discovered in gruesome fashion along the Ocean Parkway, which spans between Jones Beach and Robert Moses State Park. 13
Robert Moses State Park should have been a dead giveaway. Only assholes go anywhere related to Robert Moses.
years ago, practically. Now, we can show you exclusive video that Eyewitness News just obtained from last night in Midtown Manhattan, when the suspect in at least as many as 4 of those killings was finally, after all this time, taken into custody. 59-year-old Rex Hoyerman, who is an architect in the city but lives here in Massapequa Park, went without incident, with Suffolk and state police investigators, a whole task force who have actually, we are told now, been tracking him for months. Mugshot now, as he was booked into the Suffolk County Jail. He was arraigned on murder charges involving 3 of the Gilgo victims and of...
You marry a guy that looks like that and you don't think he's a serial killer? He looks like a serial killer. Look at him. Looks like Clown from Spawn. Look at his eyes. They say killer. I'm always caught off by all these. Like, all these serial killers look like serial killers. They never don't look like serial killers. Even though I know women have it fucking hard for Jeffrey Dahmer. Was it Jeffrey Dahmer or the other fucking dude? Ted Bundy. Women fucking have waterfalls with Ted fucking Bundy. He looked like a serial killer. Goes to show women's judgment. Is this a woman-hating episode? I didn't think we'd be here. Are we turning into Fresh and Fit? Am I going to be hanging out with Sneeko now? Am I going to have Pearl on this podcast? Talking about low-value females? No. I just think, for the most part, women have bad judgment with serial killers. They never think the guy could be a serial killer. Little do they know. They don't look for the things that men look for, I think, when we're dating somebody. Men look for a consistency in psychology and logic. Women don't look for that. I'm convinced. For the amount of times they get caught being married to serial killers. I've never known a man to be married to a serial killer. Because we can point out the logic. We can see the inconsistencies of psychology. We're going to ask questions. Why is she out late all the time? Why are a set of knives always missing? Why can't I go into the basement? What kind of activities are they up to when I'm not around? And why do they look like a serial killer? Men ask these questions because we're always afraid of being deceived. I don't think women really look at somebody's dudes.
4th is likely as well. Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager was in court for Huerman's first appearance today.
I like how everyone's like laughing in the background, having a grand old time. It's just a murder.
And said nothing to reporters. But Rex Huerman did tell his defense attorney he denies all the charges.
The only thing I can tell you that he did say as he was in tears was, "I didn't do this."
But local, state, and federal authorities on Long Island outlining today years of quiet evidence collection leading to an indictment against Huerman for at least 3 Gilgo murders, that of Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. And they say Rex Huerman is likely to be charged in a 4th, the murder of Maureen Brainard Barnes.
All right, so they only killed white women, it seems. Only white women sex workers. So that's a pattern. That's serial killer pattern right there. But it also does tell me there's a racial tinge here. Like, he wasn't interested in black sex workers. Not saying he should have killed any of them. But just like, I like my serial killers to have a level of diversity. You know what I mean? Like, these kind of things should have a level of inclusion. Because we're trying to create a more inclusive society. So to the serial killers out there, number 1, don't be doing that. Don't do it. Stop the serial killing now. Turn yourself in. Or email me at thisoneIndarkness@gmail.com and turn yourself in so I can interview you first and get a lead on this. So I can start writing my book. But don't be doing it. But if you must, try to make it more inclusive. Don't be like this man and have a type. Expand your palette. Learn about yourself. You can learn a lot by experiencing different cultures, you know? Going to different neighborhoods, different hunting grounds, as the serial killers would put it. You can learn a lot. Maybe if he had gone to a Spanish neighborhood, he'd be like, oh, this food's great. This music's fantastic. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to leave my wife and become a salsa dancer. It's a possibility. Maybe he goes to a black neighborhood and he's like, yo, this is pretty dope. Everyone's cool here. These barbershops are fire. They got my fade just right. I'm gonna hang out here and talk shit with the guys about old sports. Sports stars no one talks about anymore. I don't want to kill anymore. That's the problem, I think, with Long Island. If you're around too many whites for too long, you snap, I think. I think that's why most white men snap. They're around too many whites for too long. They need more diverse friends. That's my theory.
The pattern?
All of the women were bound at the head, at the midsection, or at the chest, and later at the legs. They were bound by burlap. The burlap was camouflage burlap used to hide, purposefully hide the bodies.
The indictment against him reading like a movie thriller, saying Heuermann used at least 7 burner phones he would toss after his alleged crimes, but not before taking selfies like these to find his victims. Federal investigators were tracking the cell phone activity to 4 separate towers around.
The homie was taking selfies? The homie was taking selfies? They're not even good selfies. Maybe that's how he was contacting them. He's like, oh, like this is how I look, and I'm looking for a sex worker. He did try his best though. Like, that shirt is pretty fly. Not gonna lie, shirt is pretty fly. He does look pretty cool for a guy his size. A little bit, a little innocent. I'm not saying he's innocent, but he looked kind of cool a little bit. Still a bit husky though, and that's a problem. You know, when you're a husky serial killer, you can't hide that. There are no in-betweens with serial killers. Either you're a real slim and slender guy because you sneak into places, or you're just the bull of a man. There are no in-betweens. There's no middleweight division in serial killing. There's no mid-card title. You know what I mean? No cruiserweights. Either you're a super junior weight or super lightweight, or you're a super heavyweight. There are no just regular heavyweights or regular middleweights. That's a stereotype that we have to break in society. We need people of different sizes becoming serial killers. Now, I don't endorse that. I'm just saying it would change the stereotype a bit and would keep us on our toes, because they start changing the way they look. Now, that would actually probably be worse though, because if women can't deduce who's a serial killer now, how will they do it when it's actually a handsome person? That's why American Psycho doesn't ring true, because no serial killer would be that sexy and have that kind of nice body. Just a thought.
On the area of Massapequa Park, where they converged today. But they say Heuermann was positively ID'd back in March of 2022. First, after a witness described him, then a description matching his Chevy pickup truck, then data listing his address in the so-called box.
Ooh.
Here, Massapequa Park, where all the cell calls were being traced.
Rex Heuermann is a demon that walks among us, a predator that ruined families.
But there is more.
That guy knows a movie's going to be made of this someday, and he wants to make sure that dialogue's in there. Like, he's writing his part in this script, and I like that. You got to think about your legacy when a serial killer thing breaks out. If you're a cop or the commissioner, you got to think about your legacy. How do you want to be portrayed in the movie? If I'm a friend of Rex's, I'm already on that. Like, I want to somehow jump into this case and provide some detailed analysis so I can have maybe Sam Rockwell play me in a movie, or a Stanley Tucci, you know? You gotta be thinking about this stuff. Yes, is this about the victims? 100%. 100%. But as the alive people in the neighborhood, you gotta start thinking about yourself. How do you want to be portrayed in a Lifetime movie? Or if you're lucky, the David Fincher film. It's either one of the two.
Work to do. Other victims not linked to Heuermann, their families also at court today without closure but hopeful.
Full justice is all the cases being closed.
There needs to be far more investigation.
It's a cool
and
purple
maybe the
hat.
dam will have broken with this fellow.
I like John Ray.
Remember, there are at least 6 other Gilgo victims. Investigators have long believed there could be more than one killer. But as for today's indictment, 6 counts of murder, each one punishable by a potential sentence of life in prison without parole. The judge telling Heuermann he'll be held without bail. In Riverhead, I'm Stacey Sager, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Damn, like multiple life sentences. Like, what do you do at that point? It's like, what? Like, all right. So if a guy dies in prison, like has a heart attack or something like that, are you obligated to save him so he has to serve the next life sentence? Is that the way out of it? Like, you find a way to kill yourself, and you like die for a few seconds, and you come back going up. That's one life sentence down. Just 4 more to go. Not trying to help. Just in case I end up in a situation where I have become a serial killer. Though I don't think I would. Once again, it's too much work. I would want to be like Zodiac level. Like, I would want to have like a master plan or something to really say. I want to have like letters and stuff, and I'm not going to learn a whole new language to write in codes. I'm not.
We had been hearing for the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, that the investigation had been jump-started with the assistance of the FBI, which has much more sophisticated DNA matching capability and cell phone tracking capability than the Suffolk Police Department was able to bring to bear.
Oh, damn, they got him going to T-Mobile. Oh, no. You don't want to get caught going to T-Mobile.
Investigators found selfies
buying a burner
allegedly took with
at
those
T-Mobile
burner phones, which he then posted online.
You do that at
to search
Sprint.
For escorts, to search for sex
On Verizon.
and perhaps lure his alleged victims.
He combed up well for these selfies, though. That's gonna go under the radar, but he cleaned up pretty nice.
With whom he is charged. Hairs that did not
He
match
definitely
those
was committed.
victims that belonged to a man that were found on the scene so many years ago. Well, investigators, once they were on to Heuermann, they waited for him to throw out some trash. He threw out a pizza box, and on that pizza box, according to the indictment, was a crust inside the box that he had not completed eating. And from that pizza crust,
As a fat dude, you do not want to get caught because of a pizza crust. Because now he's just living up to fat stereotypes. And I don't finish crust from my pizza. Should I be concerned? Am I just leaving my DNA around willy-nillys by not finishing the crust? If you do not does that make me a serial killer for not finishing my crust? Oh, that was normal. I thought people didn't finish crust all the time. You don't want to be a big man convicted of a crime because of fingerprints you left on a pizza crust. You don't. You can body shame a serial killer suspect. That's the way I see it. We only body shame the mean people and that random bitch Blythe. Can't stop myself every time.
they were able to find enough of his DNA to match with the hair found on the victims at the scene, and that was a key piece of evidence that helped get to this location, this point today. Back live here in Massapequa Park, this is a very small residential bedroom community. A lot of law enforcement people live in this neighborhood, and a lot of working law enforcement now have surrounded the house where Heuermann lives with his wife and 2 children.
See, now we gotta start thinking big here. Who's gonna play the wife in this movie? And it can't be Margot Robbie. It can't be. She's too young for the role, I think. You gotta go a bit older. Bring Ashley Judd out of retirement. You know? Haley Atwell could probably pull it off. The 2 kids who you can just get random 2 children actors from wherever. They don't really matter because all you gotta do is emote like happy son, happy. So that's it. That's all they're used for. But the wife is gonna be a pivotal part because she has to play sufficiently dumb to not know her husband's a serial killer. Though every indication, serial killer. Apparently had a temper. while looking like that, serial killer. And that's not to say people can't have tempers, but it's a certain look that you gotta be aware of. They say don't judge a book by its cover. I disagree. I say judge the book harshly on the cover, because the cover tells you a lot about the book. Changing narratives on his podcast, bro. But they call him because of the pizza box, and that's some CSI shit. I know people are mad at the Long Island police force for not jumping on this case sooner, but it's kind of dope. Pizza box? You don't hear that too often. And if you are a fat serial killer out there, please eat all of your food. Not that I want you to get away with it, but if you're going to do it right. I don't want people getting caught because of fucking a Dunkin' Donuts box, a candy wrapper you left behind. I want the hair samples to get you caught, because you're going to drop those regardless. That's going to happen. Unless you're a bald serial killer, but they catch those guys too. Beard hair falls. Skin cells fall. So you can't really get away with it anymore. That's why I can't start doing it. I would get caught. And once again, I don't have enemies. I do not have enemies. In the last hour, I have not figured out how to get more enemies. He can't be my enemy. He's caught. But he could have been. Like, I watched the movie Zodiac a lot. I talked about the Zodiac Killer a lot today. But it's one of my favorite David Fincher movies. And there's a moment. Well, the whole movie's built on Jake Gyllenhaal, Mysterio. He's a cartoonist and he's writing a book about the Zodiac. And he finally kind of figures it out, and he runs up to Mark Ruffalo, the Hulk. And then Iron Man's in that movie too. Oh shit. Like, Zodiac has all the Marvel heroes in that shit. And fucking Logan Roy's in there. Shit, damn, they're good. That's some good casting. But like, he runs up to his house. It's Arthur Lee Allen. It's Arthur Lee Allen. And he's in the rain. I'll never get to have that moment. And I've always wanted that moment in life where I figure out who the serial killer is. But I don't pay too much attention. And I probably have ADD. So I wouldn't dedicate my time to figuring out who the killer is. You gotta know yourself. Know thyself, they say in some secret societies. I know myself. Can't be a serial killer. Sure as hell can't catch a serial killer. I'm just the guy who podcasts about serial killers. Which, coming up in August, we will be doing an episode on the Manson murders. We're doing research now. So we'll have an episode next week. But the week after that, we're going to take a break so we can prepare the actual Manson episode. If you watched our Alan Dulles episode, you'll know that was an endeavor for Thanksgiving. But it takes a lot of work to do those episodes and to produce them in the way we would like. So definitely an episode next week. We're going to take a week off. And then we're coming back hot and heavy with a Manson episode where we, look at the murders. We also look like Manson the man. The new theories about him being connected to the CIA and stuff like that. So we want to do something for the anniversary. And I actually think one of the Manson murderers is now on probation. So that's something we will break down in the coming weeks. But they got him off pizza crust. That's good. That's good. He had 2 kids. Is Blythe gonna be upset with him? I hope she is. I hope she has a statement. And she drives around a car still, committing CO2 emissions. See how that fucking works? I'm not gonna have a baby because of climate change. I'm also gonna drive in my car though. That's something. You know what? I'm not gonna say it. No. I have class and dignity. I'm not gonna say it. But I want to. This woman tried to get rid of her kids. Maybe Rex should have hired an assassin for his children. Maybe he dreamt of being an assassin. But life's a beach, man. And sometimes it's in Gilgo. And sometimes we just sit on the beach looking at the water as the sun goes down. And we all know how it's going to end.